Hello beta, good afternoon everyone. Today I am going to go ahead and give you all important questions from Unit 3 of Intermediate Macroeconomics II. Let me just go ahead and tell you, सबसे पहले the most important thing is that this unit itself has a weightage of 50% beta. Try to understand this thing, huh? So Unit 1 plus Unit 2 has a weightage of 50%. And Unit 3 itself has a weightage of 50%. So you have to dedicate a lot of time on Unit 3 and you have to make sure that you do Unit 3 very, very well. बहुत अच्छे से we need to go ahead and do each and every question, whatever I have listed, I'm listing here, because this is one of the most important units of your exam. ठीक है? So 50% of the score goes to unit number 3 beta. Let's look into the questions that I have written. So I am going chapter by chapter. The first few questions that you will be seeing, you can open your reading simultaneously. I will just go ahead and tell you kahan se kya padna hai. So the first chapter that I have given you question from, that is actually chapter number 6 of unit 3 beta. Chapter number 6 of unit 3. This is where we are starting from. ठीक है? अब इसी में the first question goes ahead and it says, why should external account always balance itself? The answer of this question, according to my reading, I have purchased this reading from Delhi School of Economics. So according to this, the answer of this question is on page number 151 of chapter 6. Okay, page 151 of chapter 6. You have to go ahead and you have to explain why current account deficit plus net capital inflow is equal to 0. So you need to go ahead and explain this equation beta. Okay, this is what the first question is about. Come to the second question. Question number 2. Why do central bank hold reserves? What determines the amount of intervention that is required by the central bank? So the question for the answer to this question is on page number 153 beta of your reading. Page 153 of your reading talks about why you need to hold reserve, intervention की क्यों जरूरत होती है और सिर्फ फिक्स्ड एक्सचेंज रेट में ही इंटरवेंशन की क्यों जरूरत है. All of that is explained on page 153 beta. So you have to go ahead and write answer from that page, chapter 6. ठीक है? Now come to the next question. Next question is saying, what is floating exchange rate? What is the difference between clean and dirty floating? The answer to this question is on page number 156 beta of chapter 6. इसमें आप बताओगे, you should know what is fixed exchange rate, what is flexible exchange rate, you should know what is clean floating, dirty floating. इनके ऊपर short note भी आ सकता है. So this question can also come as a short note. So you need to write a small answer for yourself. ठीक है? Okay, come to the next question. What is the difference between depreciation and devaluation? Reverse can also come in exam. They can ask you what is the difference between appreciation and... So just remember, whenever such kind of question come, मेरे को एकदम से hit हुआ. So whenever such kind of questions come in exam, what is required is that you go ahead and you make a table like thing. ठीक है? यहाँ पे you can write depreciation. Here you can write devaluation. And what you can do now, here you will write the definition beta. कि depreciation refers to this, devaluation refers to this. Then you will write exchange rate mechanism. Right? So we know that depreciation happens under flexible exchange rate and devaluation under fixed exchange rate. Right? Then you will go ahead and you will mention the mechanisms that for depreciation to take place, when will it take place? When? So you will answer that depreciation of the currency takes place when, you will write all the situation. What happens to net exports? What happens to capital flows? किस case में depreciation होता है, right? And here you will write down that devaluation takes place when the government wants to devalue the currency, right? So you will explain under when depreciation takes place and when devaluation takes place. वो बताओगे. Then you will give you example. Example में you will say that if I go from rupees 60 per dollar to rupees 70 per dollar, then rupees is depreciating. यहाँ पे भी you will give the example. ठीक है? And at last you will give the requirement of reserves. That is there any role of reserves under depreciation of currency? Is there any role under the devaluation of currency? So don't think that in such questions you have to just go ahead and give the definition. Just giving the definition is not enough. You have to go ahead and give a proper answer. Proper, you have to make these pointers and justify each and everything. कि depreciation कब होती है, appreciation कब होती है, devaluation कब होती है, revaluation कब होती है. So this kind of question can be asked in exam. Okay, beta, question number 5 now. So this says, what is real exchange rate? What determines the real exchange rate? The answer to this question is on page 160 of chapter number 6 again. In this, you will go ahead and give the formula of real exchange rate, that R is equal to E PF by P. And yahi se you will tell the factors that R is a function of nominal exchange rate, foreign prices and domestic prices, or in तीनों को you will go ahead and explain, right? Okay, come to the next question. It says contrast an open economy IS curve with a closed economy IS curve. But the answer to this question is on page 161 of chapter 6. Page 161 of chapter number 6. In this, you will go ahead and tell कि जब हम closed economy में होते हैं, we have y is equal to c plus I plus g, and in open economy we have y is equal to c plus I plus g plus nx. तो जो open economy का IS curve हो जाता है, you will give that equation a is equal to a by I, but you have to go ahead and explain that in open economy this y is affected by net exports also. तो वो जो equations आपकी book में दी हुई हैं, you need to go ahead and explain those equations very very nicely. ठीक है? So if you will look into your book, it says net exports is equal to export minus import. Export is a function of the foreign income and real exchange rate. Import is a function of domestic income and real exchange rate. So therefore, net export is a function of foreign income, domestic income, and real exchange rate. So when you will be writing this answer, you need to go ahead and explain this net export curve also. ये equation को भी आप explain करोगे. At the same time, you need to go ahead and you need to ensure that you tell कि एक open economy versus closed economy के IS curve के slope में क्या difference है, right? So whether the IS curve becomes flatter or steeper for an open economy, you have to explain that also. Okay, beta. Come to the next question, question number 7 now. So question 7 is saying, what are repercussion effects? What is the impact of following on net export and domestic income, increase in home spending, increase in foreign income, and real depreciation? So the answer of this is on page number 163, beta. On page 163, there is a paragraph. This paragraph talks about the repercussion effect. आप उसे explain करोगे. और इन तीनों के लिए, for these 3 pointers, point A, B, and C, you will go ahead and you will make that table which is given on the same page, which says income and net export. And here it says increase in home spending, it says increase in foreign income, and it says real depreciation. As it is, you have to make in your exam. If you will make this table, it will give you extra marks. Let me give you a very, very clear analysis of the exam. Beta, ऐसे tables जब आप बनाते हो या जब आप डायग्राम्स बनाते हो, the examiner will always give you extra marks for that. So you will go ahead and make this table and it will definitely fetch you extra marks. ठीक है. Come to the next question, question number 8. It says, what are the two policy dilemmas? Why is there a conflict between the two? The answer to this question is on page 164 of chapter number 6. You have to go ahead and talk about, sorry, not 164, 166 of chapter number 6. You have to go ahead and talk about beta external and internal balance. इन दोनों के बारे में बात करोगे कि what is external balance, what is internal balance, and in the same question you will go ahead and you will make this diagram beta. ये diagram बनाओगे, right? You will say that this is your equilibrium income level, this is your equilibrium interest rate, और इन चारों ही phases को you will explain. Here there is deficit and unemployment, deficit and overemployment, and so on and so forth. Surplus unemployment, surplus overemployment. You will explain all those 4 cases. This will be the answer to this question. Okay. Now let us go ahead to the next question, beta. So question number 9. It says all the cases of Mundale-Fleming can be asked in exam. So in Mundale-Fleming model, they can ask you anything, right? So they can go ahead and ask you fixed exchange rate plus fiscal policy, or fixed exchange rate plus expansionary monetary policy, or flexible exchange rate plus fiscal policy, or flexible exchange rate plus monetary policy. So they can go ahead and ask you any of these cases, and you need to go ahead and do all these 4 cases well. Okay, now from chapter 6, there are some important back questions that you must go ahead and cover. So do question 1, question 2, and question 4 from the back questions of this book. These are important back questions. Okay, this is it from chapter 6, beta. Let us continue now. So the next thing that is in your reading is chapter number 20, right? And these are the important questions from chapter 20. So first question, what does a country with current account deficit attain equilibrium under fixed exchange rate? How does a country under with current account deficit attain equilibrium under fixed exchange rate? Beta, in this, you need to go ahead and you need to explain figure 20.1, which is on page 601, right? And then if you go to page 602, right? In page 602, if you go to para 1, it talks about this only. It says, what does a country with current account deficit like at E do? Ye first line hai iska. So you need to just pick up that paragraph and read that paragraph well. That will help you answer this question. Okay, beta, come to the next question. It says, explain classic adjustment process. This question is again from page 602, classical adjustment process. Go towards the last of the page and you will get the answer to this question. Page 602, chapter number 20. Okay. Now come to the next question, beta. So next question is saying, what are expenditure switching and expenditure reducing policies? So try to understand the difference. कभी कभी वो difference पूछते हैं. What is the difference between switching and reducing policy? तो expenditure switching means you switch your expenditure. पहले आप foreign पे खर्च कर रहे थे, foreign goods पे, अब आप domestic goods पे खर्च करोगे. So you switch your expenditure. And expenditure reducing means you lower down the expenditure. So you have to try and explain both of them. The answer to this is given on page 603 beta of chapter number 20. And you must go ahead and do this very well. ठीक है बेटा, next question पे आते हैं. So question number 14. It says consider an economy which faces adverse external shock, what step should it take to achieve internal and external balance? The answer to this is given on page 606, beta. Page 606, chapter number 20 has the answer to this question. So if you will look at the diagram, which is figure 20.3, the figure explains exactly this question. It says when a country faces adverse external shock, how you can just handle that. So you need to go ahead and write your answer from this one. Okay, come to the next question, beta. क्या बोल रहा है ये? Does a decline in relative price always improve current account balance? Examine. तो इसको मैंने थोड़ा सा I have changed the language and I have given you. Actually, it is asking you to examine the J curve. It is asking you to examine the J curve. So in this case, you will write the answer entirely of J curve. आप बताओगे कि कैसे शुरू में करंट अकाउंट बैलेंस एक्चुअली वर्सन होता है and with time the current account balance actually goes ahead and improves. So we have done this diagram also of J curve and you should always go ahead and show this diagram also in exam. ठीक है? इसी में बेटा they can also ask you just part B to this question that you should be writing a short note on hysteresis. Right? Again, an important word from the point of view of exam. Okay, beta, let's go to the next question. So next question goes ahead and says, nominal devaluation may not always lead to real devaluation justified. So for this question, you have to go to page 610 of chapter number 20, beta. And on this page, it says exchange rate and relative price adjustment. Exchange rate and relative price adjustment. ये वाला जो section है, you have to write this section completely. Just go ahead and write this section completely. Clear? So nominal devaluation may not always lead to real devaluation justified. Please go to this page and write this section completely. Okay, beta, let's go to the next question now. Question number 17. What are the functions of foreign exchange market? Okay, so this is coming from your next chapter now, beta. Chapter number 14. Chapter number 14. पढ़ो जरा ध्यान से. What are the functions of foreign exchange market? The answer to this question is on page number 456 of chapter number 14, beta. You have to tell all functions. और अगर ये ज्यादा मार्क्स का आता है तो you also have to tell all the level of transactors or all level of participants. Right? Sometimes it can be asked as a separate question also, right? So you need to go ahead and tell all level of participants, right? Beta, the solution of IIT economics paper, I have solved it and posted on the portal. Actually, it is only for enrolled students. It is posted on the portal. Let me see if I get some time. I will go ahead and take some questions on YouTube as well, right? Okay. Fine. So now let's go to the next question. The next question is, what determines the demand and supply of foreign currency? How is equilibrium attained under flexible exchange rate? So the demand and supply of foreign currency, for this you need to go ahead and write answer from page 460, beta. ठीक है, उसमें the equilibrium conditions are well defined, so you can go ahead and take the equilibrium condition from there. तो पूरा लिखना, हाँ, कि डिमांड किस पे डिटरमाइन होती है एंड सप्लाई किस पे डिटरमाइन होती है. यू नीड टू गो अहेड एंड राइट दैट आल्सो. ठीक है, नाउ लेट्स गो अहेड. अच्छा, वन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट ऑफ मैक्रोइकोनॉमिक्स एग्जाम इज शॉर्ट नोट्स. Usually the last question of your exam that you will be seeing, question number 7 of your exam, उसको आप हमेशा short notes के form में देखोगे. They will give you 3 or 4 short notes and they will give you some options. They will say कि out of the 4 write short note on 3 or write short note on 2. So please go ahead and do revise. जहां जहां पे मैंने short note लिखा है, do revise those short notes as well. Okay, beta, I will definitely try if I can do so. Okay, so these are the short notes that you have to do. Arbitrage, effective exchange rate, cross exchange rate, triangular arbitrage. In your book, there is an example given of triangular arbitrage. Please revise that example very well. It can come as a numerical also. Same example एक numerical की तरह आ सकता है. माने they will give you कि suppose the exchange rate between dollar and pounds is this much. Pounds is this much. The exchange rate between pound and euro is this much. The exchange rate between euro and dollar is this much. Then define the triangular arbitrage. ठीक है, ऐसा कोई question it can be asked in exam, and therefore I will go ahead and I want all of you to revise that example. I have done this as part of the video lecture. Please do that better. Next question. How is disequilibrium? How is beta question paper? Okay, question paper you can go ahead and get it. For question paper beta, you can just WhatsApp us and you can get the question paper of IIT Delhi. So it is just WhatsApp us on 83686639950. Just WhatsApp Rohit sir and he will give you the link to question paper. It is available on our website. Okay, beta. What is the disequilibrium? How is disequilibrium resolved under fixed exchange rate? How is it different from flexible exchange rate? Beta, important question. In this, you have to go ahead and you have to write answer of page 466. Right? On this page 466, there is a diagram 14.2. इस केस में ये डायग्राम आपको एक्सप्लेन करना है. It explains both the cases. It explains fixed exchange rate also and it explains flexible exchange rate also. So go ahead and do these two cases from this diagram. ठीक है बेटा, question number 21. Again, short notes. Usually in topics पे forward exchange rate, spot exchange rate, forward premium, currency swap, hedging, speculation, there is mostly 90% of the time there will be a short note that would be asked in your exam. So therefore all of you have to write short notes on these, right? There will be sometimes a choice in short notes as I am telling you. So out of क्या होगा ना, short notes will be for 15 marks, and they will give you 3 short notes जिसमें से you have to write on 2 each for 7.5. Right? So this is the topics for short notes again. Forward rate, spot rate, forward premium, currency swap, foreign exchange risk, hedging and speculation. Here I want to again specify that they can ask you a numerical, very small, छोटा सा एक numerical दे देंगे based on the formula beta, जैसे आपकी book में दिया हुआ है. So they will ask you find out the forward discount or find out the forward premium, and then they will just give you some values. कि suppose the spot rate is 1, the forward rate is 1.01, then find the forward premium. तो forward premium का you will just go ahead and plug the formula and you will get the answer to this question. So ये जो बेसिक एकदम छोटा छोटा फॉर्मूलाज है, रिवाइज देम वेरी वेल. देयर विल बी अ न्यूमेरिकल दैट विल बी आस्क्ड इन एग्जाम. ठीक है, ओके. नाउ लेट्स गो टू कॉन्ट्रास्ट बिटवीन फ्यूचर्स एंड ऑप्शन. बेटा, व्हेन यू विल बी कॉन्ट्रास्टिंग बिटवीन फ्यूचर एंड ऑप्शन, यू हैव टू मेक श्योर इसका जो आंसर है दैट इज ऑन पेज, आई थिंक I just saw this. It is on page 469 only of this chapter number 14. आपको ध्यान से in this question you need to make sure that you make a table बेटा, कि दोनों के ही उसमें what is the time frame involved, right? What is their definition, right? When is it required, right? And then you have to give all such points beta. जितना पॉसिबल पॉइंटर्स हो सकता है कि कितने कितने टाइम के लिए दे आर इशूड, कैन यू रिडीम इट अर्ली और नॉट, on all those aspects you will go ahead and you will distinguish between forward and options, forward and futures. Sometimes it will ask you between forward, future and option, तो तीनों को explain करना है. That in option there are two kind of options like put option, call option, ये भी चीज को you will go ahead and explain. Okay, come to the next question. What is the difference between stabilizing and destabilizing speculation? This may come as a short note also. तो बहुत बड़ा तो आंसर नहीं है इसका, इट्स अ वेरी स्मॉल पार्ट दैट यू हैव टू गो अहेड एंड डू, एंड दिस इज ऑन पेज 478 of chapter 14. Okay, come to the next question. What is covered interest parity? Diagrammatically explain covered interest arbitrage. What is covered interest arbitrage? Margin. Sometimes they will ask you distinguish between uncovered interest arbitrage and covered interest arbitrage. This can come as an important question. And sometimes they will only ask you covered interest arbitrage और उसी में वो आपको CIAM भी पूछेंगे. This entire part is super important from exam point of view, बहुत ही ज्यादा important है, और एग्जाम में इसका मैथमेटिकल डेरिवेशन भी आ सकता है और डायग्रामेटिक अप्रोच भी. सो फिगर 14.5 ऑफ पेज 482 चैप्टर 14 इज सुपर सुपर इंपॉर्टेंट, बहुत ही ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. And then the equation 14.2, it is equation 14.2, it is very very important from exam point of view बेटा. जब हम इस इक्वेशन की बात करते हैं तो इसी के नीचे if you just go to the next page, that is page 484 chapter number 14 बेटा, इस पेज पे there is a small numerical given. Again, बहुत छोटा सा न्यूमेरिकल है in which you have to calculate CIAM. This can be asked as it is an exam. तो जहां जहां पे मैं आपको बोल रही हूं that do this numerical, it can be asked in exam and you must go ahead and do this. So please go ahead and do this छोटा सा 3-liner numerical of deriving CIAM, right? Similarly, if you just go to your next page, that is appendix. In appendix also, there is this formula given to you. You need to go ahead and revise that formula very well. ठीक है? I have already derived this in my video lectures and it is available on the portal. But ये वाला जो क्वेश्चन है ना जिसमें हमने लिखा है CIAM is equal to I minus I star upon 1 plus I star minus FR minus SR by SR. Please try to remember this formula well, derive it well. This can be asked in exam. Okay, now we will go ahead to chapter number 15 beta. Chapter number 15 is exchange rate determination. This is the first question from that chapter. What is the difference between absolute and purchasing power parity? What do empirical results suggest? A lot of times in exam, you will notice कि वो empirical results को club कर देते हैं and they ask you. ये बहुत छोटे कम मार्क्स का होता है empirical results. It will be say suppose ये question अगर suppose it is for 8 marks, तो this will come for 6 and this will come for 2, right? If it is for say 15 marks, so this will go ahead and come for 10 and this will come for 5. So comparatively empirical results will come for a very small weightage and you don't have to remember it in huge detail. बट इसके ऊपर सिर्फ 1.5 पैराग्राफ्स लिख पाओ उतना पढ़ के रखना है. दैट इज इट, दैट यू हैव टू गो अहेड एंड स्टडी. ओके, देन द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन व्हिच इज इंपॉर्टेंट बेटा, व्हाट इज मॉनेटरी अप्रोच अंडर फिक्स्ड एंड फ्लेक्सिबल एक्सचेंज रेट? How can it be used for exchange rate determination? So again you have to explain both under fixed and flexible exchange rate. Answer to this is on page number 509 beta, section 15.3. very very important. और इसमें you have to derive the entire equations. आपको दोनों ही equations को थोड़ा थोड़ा करके explain करना है till you reach this exchange rate जहां पे हमने ये derive किया था ms k star y star upon ms k y, ms star ky. तो this इसका जो डेरिवेशन है, you should be well aware about that because that is used for exchange rate determination. Okay, come to the next question now, beta. An expected change in exchange rate will lead to change in actual exchange rate justified. So, for this, you can, I have to see which page to refer for this one. Yeah. So, page number 517 beta, chapter 15, 15.3D section. In this, if you go to para 2, it explains this line. And as I told you, you have to read in between the lines. MCQs बहुत difficult होने वाले हैं इस बारी. So try to read this properly. तो यहाँ से आपको इस चीज का आंसर मिल जाएगा. Okay, come to next beta. Question number 28. It says, what is the portfolio balance approach? How is it different from monetary approach? The answer to this question is section 15.4a, which talks about the asset market approach. It talks about asset market approach. तो इसको आपको अच्छे से करना है, and you have to also learn to find the difference between the two. So if you will go to the next paragraph under asset market approach, it says asset market approach differs from monetary approach, है ना? तो वो वाला पैराग्राफ आपको अच्छे से करना है. It is 15.4a, para number 2. You need to do this well, beta. Okay, come to the next question. What is extended asset market? What is extended asset market model? What factor determine demand for domestic money, bond and foreign bond? Let me highlight, ये question बहुत important है, very important. But this question can be reworded. हाँ, तो हर तरीके से हमें समझना है कि ये question कैसे पूछ सकते हैं. तो इसी को ही पूछने का एक और तरीका ये है बेटा. So it says, consider an expected appreciation of foreign currency. How does it impact demand of domestic money, domestic bond and foreign bond? यहाँ पे instead of expected appreciation of foreign currency, वो आपको कुछ और भी दे सकते हैं कि consider a change in the interest rate, domestic interest rate. How does it impact all these three things? Or consider a change in the price level. How does it impact these three things? So you need to go ahead and you need to remember this well. तो यहाँ पर ना, if you go to equation 15.10, 15.11, 15.12, ये तीनों ही equations you have to do them very nicely. जितने भी factors दिए हैं, that you know M is a function of interest rate, foreign interest rate, expected appreciation, risk premium, Y, P, W, ये सारे फैक्टर्स के साथ आपको you have to remember how it is going to impact M, right? So you need to go ahead and do all these factors. यहाँ पे वो कोई भी एक फैक्टर डाल के they can ask you this question. Okay, next question beta. Why does exchange rate overshoot before reaching an equilibrium? This question will be again definitely be asked in exam. Exchange rate overshooting model को figure 15.5 के साथ you have to do it thoroughly. ये एक guaranteed question होता है एग्जाम में जो आपको full fledged marks fetch करता ही करता है. So you have to definitely do this question. It's a 150% definitely asked question in exam. Okay. Next question beta. Do empirical tests support anything for monetary and asset market approach? तो this is section 15.6. और अगर आपको लग रहा है ना कि I don't want to read this big section 15.6, इतना जरूरी नहीं है ये, तो what you can do ना, you can go towards the summary, जहां पे आपको summary pointers दिए हुए हैं इस बुक के. 6 summary pointers are given. उस 6 summary pointers का जो point number 6 है बेटा, that is enough for your revision of this question, है ना? तो उसमें it says empirical tests do not provide much support for monetary and asset market approach, और उसको उन्होंने थोड़ा सा explain किया है in 5-6 lines. That is enough for this question. उससे ज्यादा इसमें पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है. So you can just read it from the summary. Summary is enough. ठीक है? मेक श्योर कि आप समरी का एक भी पॉइंट मिस आउट ना करो। आई एम एक्सपेक्टिंग कि जो हमारे एमसीक्यू क्वेश्चंस होंगे, द एमसीक्यू क्वेश्चंस बेटा, that will be actually asked from the summaries of this chapter, स्पेशली चैप्टर 15 के समरी से बहुत सारे एमसीक्यू पॉइंटर्स निकलेंगे, सो यू हैव टू डू दिस समरी वेरी नाइसली। ठीक है, ओके बेटा, नाउ लेट मी गो टू दिस क्वेश्चन। दिस इज क्वेश्चन नंबर 33, and to do question number 33, what you need to do now, you need to do this from the appendix of चैप्टर 15। चैप्टर 15 का जो अपेंडिक्स है उसमें से ये क्वेश्चन बनता है एक, इट्स अ न्यूमेरिकल क्वेश्चन। एंड अगर कोई एग्जामिनर एक्चुअली एक स्ट्रिक्ट पेपर देना चाहेगा, आपको थोड़ा परेशान करना चाहेगा, तो वो अपेंडिक्स से आपको एक न्यूमेरिकल दे सकते हैं। तो आई डोंट वांट यू टू टेक एनी रिस्क, सो गो अहेड एंड रिवाइज दिस क्वेश्चन, इट कैन बी इजीली सॉल्व्ड फ्रॉम द अपेंडिक्स बेटा। ठीक है, ओके, so now it says examine the effect of exchange rate on exchange rate of increase in domestic money supply, one and for all depreciation using portfolio balance approach. This is again from appendix 15.2 beta. You can write the answer to this question, so refer to appendix 15.2 for this question. Okay, next question beta, this is from your next chapter, chapter number 20.6. इसमें से ये क्वेश्चंस हैं। So first of all, the question is write short note on this. Most probably there will be a short note that will be asked. So write short note on exchange rate band. In this beta, you need to go ahead and make the diagram, figure 20.3. Second, adjustable peg system, and third, crawling peg. So important from exam point of view. ओके, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, बट आई जस्ट वांट यू टू रीड इट, अगर टाइम मिलता है तो पढ़ लो। सो व्हाट इज लीनिंग अगेंस्ट द विंड पॉलिसी? आर देयर एनी रिजर्व्स रिक्वायर्ड अंडर द डर्टी फ्लोटिंग? सो लीनिंग अगेंस्ट द विंड पॉलिसी बेटा, दिस इज कवर्ड अंडर सेक्शन 20.6D। अगर होगा तो शायद इसमें से एमसीक्यू आएगा rather than a full-fledged question, और MCQ में ये word यूज हुआ होगा leaning against the wind policy, तो just read it out from the point of view of an MCQ. So these are the important questions from unit 3. Unit 3 is the most important unit from the point of view of exam. अगर आप यूनिट 3 को अच्छे से नहीं करते हो, देयर आर चांसेस यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू गो अहेड एंड स्कोर अ गुड मार्क्स इन योर मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक्स पेपर। यूनिट 3 इज ऑल्सो द मोस्ट डिफिकल्ट यूनिट। बहुत सारे एमसीक्यूज भी यूनिट 3 से ही आएंगे, रीड इन बिटवीन द लाइन्स। बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस भी यूनिट 3 से ही आएंगे। एज आई हैव टोल्ड यू, 50% ऑफ द वेटेज इज टू यूनिट 3, and there will be some numericals also that will be asked from unit 3. तो जहां जहां पे मैंने एक न्यूमेरिकल आपको बोला है, there are chances that numerical can be asked. It is my high suggestion कि आज से लेके कल दोपहर तक आप सिर्फ यूनिट 3 ही करो, because it is one of the most difficult units. Okay बेटा, thank you.